One of the workers at the farm suggested that the owners themselves were the ones who took the horses out. This seemed like a reasonable explanation, so Tim decided to thank Mr. and Mrs. Bonham for stepping in and taking the horses out on his behalf. Every morning, people often think they are the smartest creatures on earth, but sometimes animals can surprise us. Take this horse as an example. It was doing something amazing every night. People didn't believe it until they saw actual video evidence, and they were completely astonished. Misty Meadows Farm is a small farm in Michigan, and it has been owned by the Bonham family for more than 20 years. Mr. and Mrs. Bonham are a wonderful couple. They have loved horses since they were children. They met many years ago and discovered that they had a lot in common. They shared a common dream of owning a stable together, and they worked hard to achieve it. After years, they bought some land, built Misty Meadows Farm, and started raising as many horses as they could. They can take care of them properly. The husband and wife were known for encouraging children in the neighborhood to learn horseback riding. They wanted to show everyone that horses are intelligent and wonderful animals. They had more than 20 horses on the farm. Mrs. Bonham believed that each one of them was unique in its own way, but Mrs. Bonham did not know that one of the horses they were raising could do something amazing to help the farm become more productive. They hired people to work on the farm, but the main condition was that these workers had to love horses as much as they did. They wanted people who saw caring for horses as a passion, not just a job. The couple cared a lot about their horses and wanted the best for them. That was when Tim came. He was a 30-year-old man. He learned how to ride a horse for the first time at High Meadows Farm when he was only 8 years old. They gladly offered him a job as the farm manager because of the passionate and knowledgeable way he spoke about horse care. When Tim first started working at the farm, he was assigned the task of taking the horses out of the stables in the morning, then making sure they all returned to their places at night, ready to rest. Because of how seriously Tim took this task, the Bonham family began to trust him with more responsibilities on the farm. Eventually, he was promoted to the role of stable manager. Shortly after accepting his new role, very strange things began to happen on the farm. One day, at dawn, Tim went to the stables to let the horses out, only to find about 12 of them already outside in the field grazing. The manager was confused, as his first thought was that someone else had gone to let them out. None of the workers were on duty at that time yet, but he hurried to the stables to finish the job and let the other horses out. However, when Tim reached the stables, he was even more confused. There was no one there or anywhere around except for the remaining horses who were patiently waiting to be let out. Tim was still confused and didn't want to cause any concern, so he simply assumed that maybe he hadn't locked their doors properly the previous night. He decided to make a mental note to check the doors properly that night. He went on with his day as usual. The next morning, Tim found a similar scene in the stables, but this time more horses had gotten out of their stalls and were grazing and wandering freely in the field. Tim told the stable workers what had happened. Everyone concluded that either they hadn't locked the doors properly or that the door locks were faulty and needed to be replaced. So they checked the locks again at night and replaced some of them. Since Tim personally checked every lock the previous night, he was sure that all the horses would be waiting for him in their stalls the next morning. But the next day, when he arrived at the stables, he found not just some, but all the horses out in the field. Each one of them had been let out of its stall during the night. Tim was now certain that someone was definitely letting them out every morning before he arrived, and he couldn't understand why anyone would do that, or why they wouldn't just admit it. Simply, the couple denied having anything to do with it, and insisted that they knew nothing about how the horses kept getting out. After that conversation, Tim became deeply concerned about how the animals kept getting out every night, and finally, he came up with an idea to catch the mysterious worker who was letting the horses out for no apparent reason. This situation continued for a few weeks, and Tim knew it was time to install a hidden camera. In cooperation with the farm owners, they agreed not to tell any of the other workers in case any of them were responsible and tempted to cover their tracks. This way, they would be able to catch whoever was behind the unexplained events immediately. However, when it was time in the morning to review the footage, the culprit was not who or what they expected at all. Horses in general are among the most perceptive animals on the planet. They are intelligent, challenging, and very social. They can do the most unexpected things in unexpected ways, surprising everyone around them. This is exactly what was happening at Misty Meadows farm. Although the owners of the farm believed that all their horses were special, they never thought that one of their horses was capable of doing something as extraordinary as the trick that was caught on the hidden camera, leaving them amazed by what they saw. The three of them decided to keep recording for a few more days, just to make sure it wasn't just a one-time strange coincidence. After a week had passed, they agreed that they had already gathered enough evidence when they told the other workers about what the camera had captured. No one believed them. In fact, many assumed that their manager was joking with them or playing an elaborate prank just to get a laugh out of them. They didn't believe them until they showed the footage that the camera had captured, and while everyone was watching, they all kept waiting for one of the new employees to enter the stable and bring out the horses. After all, that's what they assumed. However, it never happened. The culprit was actually someone with deep knowledge of the stables. Someone who had lived on the farm most of his life, someone intelligent but harmless, someone, or rather something like the horse itself. The camera footage showed Marisa, Mai's beautiful mare, stretching her head over her stall door and doing something amazing with her mouth. The magnificent black mare quickly pulled open her lock. They could hardly believe their eyes, but dear Marisa wasn't done with her Houdini act yet. They all watched in shock as she pushed her stall door open and wandered around the stables, unlocking every horse's stall over several days. Footage showed that Marisa followed a routine every morning. She would let her fellow horses out of their stalls at almost the same time, as if she had a secret alarm in her stall. They also noticed that sometimes she would skip the stall closest to her, because she and that other horse didn't always get along. It was truly amazing, and everyone couldn't stop talking about it. The owners of the farm were so fascinated by Marisa's exceptional behavior that they shared her incredible and unlikely story on social media.